The old watch arrived in Ayan Malik's life on a rainy afternoon, wrapped in brown paper and silence. It had belonged to his grandfather, a man who spoke little about his past and even less about the strange objects he kept locked away. The watch was heavy in Ayan's palm, its glass slightly cracked, the metal cool and unfamiliar. When he wound it for the first time, the ticking felt unusually loud, as if it were echoing somewhere deeper than the room itself. That night, as rain tapped against the window and the city slept, Ayan fell asleep with the watch resting on his chest. Unaware that time itself was about to loosen its grip on him, that he woke to sunlight that did not belong to his world. The air smelled different, cleaner, touched with something old and alive. Confused, Ayan sat up and realized he was no longer in his apartment. He stood in the middle of a narrow street lined with stone houses and wooden doors, people dressed in clothes he had only seen in photographs. Panic rose in his throat, but before it could overwhelm him, his eyes met hers. She stood across the street, holding a book close to her chest, looking just as startled as he felt. Her name, he would later learn, was Eliza Hart, and in that moment, time folded quietly around them. Eliza lived in 1942, in a town shaped by war, restraint, and unspoken fears. She had always felt out of place, as if her heart beat a little ahead of the world around her. When she saw Ayan appear as if from thin air, her first instinct was disbelief, followed by a strange calm, as though some part of her had been waiting for this impossibility. Ayan tried to explain, stumbling over words that sounded absurd even to his own ears, but Eliza listened, truly listened, with a seriousness that steadied him. She did not laugh. She did not run. She simply said, "Then time brought you here for a reason." They discovered the rules slowly. The watch only worked at night. Ayan could not stay past dawn. Each time he returned to his own era, the ache in his chest grew stronger, as if something vital were being pulled away. Days passed in his world where nothing felt real anymore, and nights became sacred moments when time bent to allow him back to her. Eliza waited for him every night by the old clock tower, her coat pulled tight against the cold, her eyes searching the shadows until he appeared. Their conversations began cautiously, but soon spilled into laughter, confessions, and long silences that felt more intimate than words. Love grew between them in fragments of stolen time. They walked through quiet streets, shared stories of worlds that should never have touched, and dreamed of lives they could not have. Eliza spoke of the fear that hung over her time, of people leaving and not returning, of futures that felt uncertain. Ayan told her of a world filled with technology, speed, and loneliness of a different kind. Each learned to see their own time through the other's eyes, finding beauty and pain where they had once seen only familiarity. But love across time does not come without a cost. Eliza began to notice changes. Her world felt unstable when Ayan was near, clocks stopping for seconds too long, memories blurring at the edges. Ayan, too, felt consequences. Each return left him weaker, his body struggling to reconcile the fracture in time. The watch grew warmer with every use, its ticking uneven, as if warning them both. When Ayan tried to stop using it, the distance nearly destroyed him. When Eliza tried to imagine a life without him, the thought felt like a kind of death. The truth revealed itself slowly and painfully. The watch was not merely a bridge. It was a sacrifice. Each meeting shortened the time they had left in their own worlds. Eliza's health began to fade, and Ayan noticed cracks appearing in his memories, moments slipping away without explanation. Time was demanding payment for what they had taken. Faced with this reality, they argued for the first time, anger born from fear and love twisted by desperation. Eliza accused Ayan of choosing her over his future. Ayan accused her of asking him to abandon the only place where he truly belonged. Silence followed, heavy and unbearable. Nights passed where Ayan did not come, and Eliza waited anyway, refusing to let hope die. When he finally returned, he looked older, tired in a way that went beyond sleeplessness. He confessed that he had tried to destroy the watch, but it had resisted, as if it had a will of its own. Eliza admitted that she had begun writing letters to him, knowing he might never read them, but needing to leave some trace of what they had been. Together, they searched for an answer, poring over old books, forgotten journals, and whispered legends. They learned that the watch had been created by a man who loved across time and lost, leaving behind a device that bound souls but punished bodies. The only way to break the cycle was to make a choice that time itself could not undo. One of them would have to stay behind, completely, cutting the thread forever. The choice shattered them. Ion wanted to stay, to give up his future for a life with Eliza, but she refused. She had seen his world through his words, seen the possibilities waiting for him. Eliza believed love was not about possession, but about sacrifice. On their final night, they returned to the place where they first met, the clock tower standing silent witness to their impossible story. They held each other as if memory itself were already fading, memorizing every breath, every heartbeat as dawn approached. Eliza placed the watch in Ion's hands and closed his fingers around it. She kissed him with a tenderness that broke him open, whispering that some loves are meant to change us, not stay with us. When the sun rose, Ion felt himself pulled away, screaming her name as time snapped back into place. He woke in his apartment, the watch cold and silent. It never ticked again. Days turned into months, and life moved forward, though a part of him remained anchored in another era. One evening, while sorting through his grandfather's old belongings, Ion found a book with a pressed flower inside. On the first page was a name written in elegant handwriting, and a dedication that spoke of a love that transcended time, of a man who arrived like a miracle and left like a scar. Ion understood then that love does not disappear just because time separates it. It lives on in the choices we make, in the lives we continue to live because of it. Somewhere in the past, Eliza lived her life fully, carrying him in her heart. Somewhere in the present, Ion learned to breathe again, shaped forever by a love that existed beyond time, beyond logic, and beyond loss.